We're about 24 hours away from the New York Giants hosting the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, and it is a must-win game for Big Blue. If you want the Giants to beat the Seahawks tomorrow, hit that thumbs up icon right now. What's going on, everybody? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Just wanted to get you guys the latest injury news for tomorrow night's ball game and an NFC showdown for Big Blue. We're going to talk about Saquon Barkley coming up in a second. Let's start with Andrew Thomas, though. Dan Duggan of The Athletic is reporting that not only is Andrew Thomas not going to play tomorrow night, he could be out a couple of weeks. Duggan is saying that Thomas suffered a setback at practice on Thursday. Thomas was out there at practice on Thursday, was not practicing on Friday, which is never a good thing. Brian Daboll is now saying that instead of day-to-day, Thomas is week-to-week. And if you've been following along how kind of the jargon that Brian Daboll has used for injuries so far, week-to-week could really mean month-to-month, because he was calling Xavier McKinney day-to-day and he missed 9 weeks. Brian Daboll really only refers to injuries as day-to-day. And now that he's saying it's week-to-week, it is not good news for the star left tackle and the second highest paid player on this football team. And let's be honest, anytime you have a hamstring injury, it's going to be tough to play through. Anytime you have a hamstring injury and a setback, it's almost a death sentence. And we've seen that with Kadarius Toney. We've seen that with Kenny Golladay. And we are once again seeing it with Andrew Thomas. This is not good. This is awful. And the fact that it happened on a play that is pretty much the downfall of the season. Think about it like this. Andrew Thomas got hurt on the blocked field goal by the Dallas Cowboys on the first drive of the first game of the season. It seems like since then this season has been going downhill. Your star left tackle, you give $100 million, ends up pretty much tearing his hamstring, chasing down a blocked field goal. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the offensive line for the Giants tomorrow night against Seattle. You're going to see once again the second-year offensive lineman out of North Carolina, Joshua Ezeudu, at that left tackle spot. Good news, Ben Bredeson is expected to be back at the left guard spot after suffering a concussion a couple of weeks ago. You'll have the rookie John Michael Schmitz at center, Marcus McKethan, the second-year guard out of North Carolina. You'll have two Tar Heels on that offensive line yet again. McKethan at the right guard spot, who Brian Daboll said is going to be the right guard going forward. So that's good news for him. He must have impressed a little bit. Seems like Joe Shane was a part of the decision-making process to bench Glowinski and give McKethan the job. I'm sure he wants to see what those picks he used on the O-line can do. And you got former top 7 pick in the 2022 NFL draft, Evan Neal, at that right tackle spot. Look, these guys got to win. It's that plain and simple. If you don't protect Daniel Jones, you're not going to win this football game. And let's just get right to the point. The Seattle Seahawks defensive line is not all that good. Are they solid? Yes. Do they have a really good player in Jarran Reed? Absolutely. But outside of Jarran Reed, this is a very lackluster group. Mario Edwards Jr., he's played on like 15 teams in the NFL. Draymond Jones is solid, but he's nobody that should absolutely just dominate Evan Neal. The Seahawks have 5 sacks on the season, and a couple of them came last week against the Carolina Panthers and Andy Dalton. If you can slow down Jarran Reed, you're going to be fine. That's going to mean John Michael Schmitz is going to have another tough test as a rookie. Maybe they do a little combo blocks between him and Bredeson or him and McKethan, but it all starts on the interior. That is where this D-line for Seattle is its strongest. Another thing, they don't blitz all that much. So it's just going to be 5-on-3, 5-on-4 for most of the time. I'm sure with Jamal Adams back, you'll see him coming off the edge a little bit more. But so far, the Seahawks blitz on just 13.8% of the time, which is 26th in the National Football League. So you're not going to be seeing this Cowboys defensive line or this 49ers defensive line. This is the Seahawks. Solid, but very, very beatable, and they should not dominate you at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. Giants offensive line needs to step up. You got a top 70 pick at the left tackle spot. You got a top 70 pick at the center spot, and you have a number 7 pick at the right tackle spot. With or without Andrew Thomas, you have more talent than them. More draft pick equity has been spent. You got to win. What's your confidence level in this group, though? I want to hear from you. Let's go from 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident, 10 you are being extremely confident. Give me your answer down below. Coming up in a second, we're going to break down how Saquon Barkley is feeling. I know personally that he is itching to get out there. I'll share what I know about Barkley coming up in a second. But first, I got to tell you guys about our proud sponsor of today's show, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use the promo code CLNS, and they're going to match your initial deposit with a $100 match. Put $100 in your account, you're going to have $200, thanks to $100 coming from Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best. It's the best way to play daily fantasy sports. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and it is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Instead of battling versus thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and there you go. This is what the card, this is the lineup I'm rocking with for Monday night. I'm going with more than 1.5 rushing or passing and receiving touchdowns for Daniel Jones. Could get weird on Monday night. And then I also am going to go with more than half a touchdown between DK Metcalf and Darren Waller. I just feel like one of those guys is going to score. And then I'm going to go less than 269.5 passing and rushing yards for Geno Smith. You can roll with my picks, you can fade my picks, or make your own picks from your own mind. All you do, though, is you just pick more or less on the projected stat line from Prize Picks. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS, prizepicks.com/CLNS. And remember, the promo code is CLNS, and they're going to hook you up and match your initial deposit of up to $100. All righty, let's close out the show talking about Saquon Barkley, who has been listed as doubtful for Monday night's game against the Seattle Seahawks. Barkley did practice, though, on Thursday and Friday of this past week. I tweeted out a couple of videos on my Twitter. You can go check it out at @MarshallGreen_. He looked good, and he looked better on Friday than he did on Thursday. We saw him make a couple of jump cuts, got up to full speed. I bet right now Saquon Barkley's probably around 75% healthy or so. And I know personally that he is itching to play. And that's not just because it's Saquon Barkley. At the end of the day, when you're on a 1-year deal and you're a running back and you have a short shelf life, you are going to do absolutely everything you can to put tape on the field, put production on the field so you can make more money on your next contract. And the one thing Saquon Barkley wants to stop from rising is the amount of games that he has missed in his National Football League career. That number is too high already, and it continues to grow. We'll say this, next week makes more sense for 26. Look, if it's a playoff game, I think Barkley's out there. Life on the line, I think he is. I think it's a must-win game, and that's why I would have Saquon Barkley out there, even if it's only for 5, 6, 7, 8 touches. When he's in the backfield, Bobby Wagner and the rest of the Seattle Seahawks defense is going to be like 26, 26. He just takes so much focus from the defense, so much gravitational pull. I just think having him on the field, whether it's in the backfield on a couple of swing routes or maybe just a couple of blocking plays, or you line him outside as a receiver, you don't ask him to run a route, I think that could have a positive impact on this offense's attack. I'm not sure they're going to do it. I don't think Saquon Barkley plays. I thought he looked good enough in those videos to give it a shot. I know he wants to play, but I've heard they may want to rest him one more week. Should Saquon Barkley play, though? What do you think? What do you think? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Give me your answer down below. With or without 26 behind Daniel Jones, you need to establish some type of run game. Let's be honest. The 8 carries that the Giants totaled between Matt Breida and Gary Brightwell last week, simply not enough. I understand they had to get away from that running game early in the game against San Francisco, but tomorrow night, you can run the ball on Seattle. I'm not saying you're going for $150, not saying you're going for $125, but can we get close to 100 yards rushing? Can we try to make it a little bit easier for Daniel Jones? I honestly would like to see Gary Brightwell get a couple more touches. I thought he ran hard and between the tackles, got a sneaky burst. And I think he's actually probably the most downhill runner that we have on this team. Whether it's the run game, though, or the pass game, this is a game that this offense, the New York Giants offense, has to win. Plain and simple, the Seattle Seahawks defense is not good. It is not a good unit. And the Giants offense has to perform. At some point, they need to perform. We saw them do it for a half of football so far through 3 games. They were excellent in that second half against the Arizona Cardinals. The Seahawks aren't the Cardinals, but they're certainly not a great defense by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, the numbers that they put on tape through 3 weeks shows that. Their rush defense is probably the best part of their game, giving up just the sixth least. Or I guess they rank sixth. What's the way I want to say that? They are the sixth best rushing defense when it comes to yards per game. But on the flip side, they give up 29.3 points per game. That ranks 29th. They give up 407 total yards of offense. That ranks 29th. And they give up 328 passing yards per game. That ranks 31st. I know I said establish the run game, and I do believe that because I believe the Giants are built off play action. They're built off of the crosser routes, and when you have a run game that can do that, it makes linebackers' lives a little bit harder. But it's going to be on number 8. It's going to be on this offensive line. If the Giants protect Daniel Jones and Jones keeps the ball out of harm's way, they're going to have a chance in this game going to the fourth quarter, and then anything can happen, and someone just has to make a play. I want to hear from you, though. Predict the score for me down in the comments section. Predict the score. Giants, Seahawks, Monday night. I'm going to roll with Giants 27, Seahawks 26. I see a close game coming down to the wire. Get your votes in down below. Give me a follow over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day, every day. I'll be live tweeting the game as well. Enjoy your Sunday. Get ready for war tomorrow night. Let's go, Big Blue.